Hey everyone, let's talk about something huge. How do you actually know, really know, what your customers want? Today, we're going to ditch the guesswork. We're breaking down user research to turn that shot in the dark product development into a total bullseye. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat, I've got a question for you. Think about that last big feature you shipped. Was it built on real, hard evidence, or was it more of a gut feeling? You know, what you thought people wanted? Seriously, be honest with yourself for a sec. It's a really important question. And here's why that matters so much. The difference is just night and day. On one side, you've got products built on pure guesswork, and we all know how that ends, right? Wasted dev hours, features that are total ghost towns, and a launch that just fizzles. But on the other side, you've got a product built on solid research. That thing launches with total confidence because it's already validated. It's solving real problems right out of the gate. I mean, the stakes are just incredibly high. All right, so how do we get from that guesswork to certainty? Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll tackle the problem with assumptions. Then we'll get into what user research really is, we'll look at the two main flavors, walk through a super simple 4-stage plan, and then wrap up with why research is basically your product superpower. Sound good? Okay, section 1. The problem with assumptions. And you know, the high cost of guessing isn't just about the money you burn, though that's a big part of it. It's also about those missed opportunities, right? And what about your team? Nothing kills morale faster than having to scrap months of work. But the absolute worst part, you end up building something that nobody even wanted in the first place. So what's the cure for all this guesswork? Simple. It's user research. And I love this definition right here. It's the methodic study of your users, getting into their needs, their pain points, all so you can have the sharpest possible insights to build the best stuff. And let's be clear, this isn't just, grabbing a coffee and chatting with a few people. It's a real, structured, professional discipline. And check this out. To really drive the point home, here's a quote from someone who knew a thing or two about discovery, Neil Armstrong. He said, "Research is creating new knowledge." And that's exactly it. You're not just going out there to confirm what you already think you know. You're on a mission to discover something completely new about your users and their world. All right, moving on to section 2. Let's talk about the two main flavors of research, qualitative and quantitative. Okay, think of this like two sides of the same coin. You really need both to see the whole picture. On the left, you've got qualitative. This is your why. It's the rich, non-numerical stuff you get from one-on-one interviews. It's where you hear the stories and understand the feelings. Then, on the right, you've got quantitative. This is your what and how many. It's the hard numbers, the measurable data from things like surveys and analytics. This is what lets you see patterns across thousands of users. One tells you the story, the other tells you the scale. You need both. So that's the theory, but how do you actually do it? Let's jump into section 3 and walk through a really simple but powerful framework, a 4-stage research plan. So this framework comes from the Nielsen-Norman Group, and it's brilliant because it's so simple. It's just 4 stages that cover the entire life cycle of a product. Discover, explore, test, and listen. Let's break them down. First up, discover. Think of this as the very, very beginning of a project. You might not even have an idea yet. Your only goal is to figure out what actually matters to people. You do this with things like contextual inquiries, where you go watch people in their natural habitat, see how they really work. Or diary studies, where they track their experiences for you over a few weeks. It's all about finding the problems worth solving. Okay, so once you've found the problems, you move into the explore stage. Now your job is to figure out how you might solve them. You're exploring different approaches, different structures. This is where you might do things like card sorting, asking people to group ideas to see how their brain organizes things. Or you might build out a customer journey map to really visualize their entire experience from start to finish. And then comes the test stage. This is so critical. You have a prototype, a design, something tangible. But the big question is, can people actually use it? The goal here is to find all the flaws before you spend a ton of time and money on coding. This is where you run usability tests, you do accessibility checks, you make sure it's not just pretty, but that it actually works for everyone. And last but not least, stage 4, listen. And this is key. The work doesn't stop when you launch, not even close. This is the part where you're constantly listening to your live product. You're digging into the analytics to see what people are actually doing, not just what they say they do. You're sending out surveys. This is your feedback loop. It's how you spot the next big opportunity or the next problem you need to fix. Okay, which brings us to the grand finale, the big so what. Let's talk about why getting good at this stuff isn't just another skill for your resume. It's basically your secret weapon, your product superpower. So what's the first huge payoff? You de-risk your roadmap. It's that simple. Instead of gambling with your company's time and money on a wild guess, you're making smart, confident moves based on real evidence. You know you're building something people actually need. And naturally, what happens when you de-risk things? You save a ton of time and money. I mean, just think about it. No more building features nobody wants. No more expensive, frantic redesigns after you've already launched. You get to focus your team on stuff that really moves the needle. And really, this is the whole point, isn't it? When you truly get your users, their hopes, their frustrations, and you work with them to build the solution, you don't just ship another product. You create something that people connect with, something they genuinely love using. So, I want to leave you with a challenge. As you head back to your desk, think about this. What is the single biggest assumption you're making about your users right now? The one that's not backed by any real data. And then, what's one small thing you could do, maybe even this week, to turn that guess into a fact? Hey, and if you really want to go deep on this and other product management topics, especially with everything happening in AI, you should definitely check out the AI Product Management Playbook. It's just loaded with practical frameworks, from AI basics all the way to strategy and managing the product lifecycle. And for the latest and greatest, make sure you subscribe on LinkedIn. You'll get fresh strategies on things like agentic AI and digital transformation delivered right to you. It's a great community of VPs, directors, and product leaders. Seriously, check it out. Thanks for joining me.